Okay, here we are again. This is our second video. And what I want to do is cover my passion that I really have about tapas acupressure technique and how it applies to cancer patients. So this is pretty much focused on people that have cancer or want to get through it or whatever aspect, whatever stage you're in. I just want you to know that this protocol can assist you in helping you to heal. So one of the things I had mentioned in my first video was that I had colon rectal cancer. And I also had mentioned that my son had cancer also. But when he was 18, he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And this was a long time ago, back because this was when he was 18, and back in those days, the chemotherapy was pretty devastating. It not only worked on killing whatever Hodgkin's lymphoma needed to be killed, but it also, his beard fell out and he lost all of his hair, and the salivary glands didn't work and had trouble eating, and it was pretty devastating. And I thought at the time, I thought, my God, here I'm thinking that in 100 years from now, we're going to look back at this protocol, this chemotherapy, and say, look what we used to do to people 100 years ago. Like 100 years ago, when people used to drill holes in their head to let out the headache. Um, but as things have gone on, they have become more sophisticated. So one of the things that I really found out that was helpful, because as I went through colon rectal cancer, I didn't want to go through all that pain and everything, and the chemotherapy and everything, but I did experience it. And I thought at the time that maybe I was paying an old debt, and it really had nothing to do with that. It was more that I had been working with cancer patients, particularly women with breast cancer, a tumor that forms in their breast. And by the way, you can get a color picture of what that tumor looks like and from your doctor. And so it was easy in those days to have a picture of what that looked like that they were working on. And when they visualized, they visualized just tying off the capillaries, because the capillaries is what um, feeds the cancer. And unfortunately, in women, especially younger women, their systems are so healthy that the tumor can just start developing more and more capillaries. That's how it gets to grow. And so what we did was we visualized tying off the capillaries and starving the tumor. And that works. That's a very effective system that does reduce the size of the cancer, the tumors. And of course, I always I'm always put in touch with the doctor or the oncologist that is working with the patient, because I don't want to do something that's going to muck up what he's got going. So one of the things that, as time has advanced, I used the system with my own cancer of assisting, letting little Pac-Men go through the capillaries and eat up the cancer. And as they were going through, they were also bringing the chemicals that needed to be to help destroy it. So it was like multitasking, because it was starving the cancer and it was also bringing in the chemicals and eating up the tumors. Okay, so that was very effective. And so that's why it's important for me to understand the protocol that the person is going to be going through, so that I can be in, so that I can, or at least the patient can let the doctor know what we're doing, so that in case it's going to be a conflict, that he can let me know, or she can let me know. So that's a big thing. Um, so I wanted to put that out there, and one of the things that I had really found out was that we invite this kind of stuff into our world. We all have potential cancer cells in our bodies. And so when we get down and we get depressed and we get lonely and we get negative and we get resentful, that's one of the big things that I found out, that people that are so resentful that they're basically, uh, it's like using your brain or your mind as a house. And the people that are resentful, they're renting out like the master bedroom to the person they have a resentment towards. And what that does is that puts that person closer than your pillow when you go to bed at night. And it also puts that person in control. So we do learn, and that's what we'll talk about a little later. We'll learn a little bit about the mechanics of actual proper forgiveness. So that's important too. But in any event, I want to get back to the idea that, well, if we create this cancer, we can undo it. It's just like, we cut ourselves and we develop a scab and it heals over, and our bodies are wonders at healing all these kind of things and taking care of them. So why not be able to work through and cure the cancer? That's the whole basis behind what we're doing here. But we need to also clear not only the cancer itself, but we also need to clear why we invited the cancer into our system. And sometimes it doesn't always make sense, and it doesn't seem to be the most logical thing about it, and it can be something kind of off the wall. I work with a physician, a surgeon that had a sarcomic tumor in his head, his mind, his brain. And he knew that Western medicine wasn't going to go ahead and take care of it, that he had to seek outside protocols that might help him. And he had been recommended to me by a friend of mine. And when he came in, I didn't think he was ready. I thought maybe that he needed a little more time to think about this, because first of all, he was trained in Western medicine, and his whole background was in surgery, and that's all Western medicine. And what I told him was that I didn't think that he was ready, and I think that he needed to, think about it for a little bit, and maybe if he decided to do the hypnosis and the visualization, to come back later. And this is years ago. And about 3 weeks later, he came back, and he was very willing at that time. I kind of liken the thing that people, if they're going to do this thing, they have to be willing enough. If that I tell them that they need to go stand in the corner on their head and gargle peanut butter, that they do it. So they're desperate. So that's a big willingness, okay? So when they're at that point, they're more than able to take care of this. They're more than able and willing to take care of the problems that they've created. So the next thing, after we cleared up the cancer, or he cleared it up, I was just the guide. I just we just agreed on what was the best thing to do, and he did the visualization, and he cleared up the cancer, and he was really ready to, move on. And I said, wait a minute. You've only accomplished half of what you need to do. The physical part is one thing, but you got to clear up the mental part. And that's where the Tapas acupressure comes in. TAT, short for it. So what we did was we worked through, and ironically, one of the things that came up for the reason that he developed this cancer was that he needed some attention. He had two twin boys that were his life, and they were everything to him. Well, they went off to college, and he was left without them. And so what better way to get attention than to develop a tumor? And so that's why he did that. And so we were able to clear that up, and he was able to move on with his life. And it's absolutely, when people are willing like that, when people are willing to really get into their own participation in their healing, it is so rewarding to see the results. I'm telling you, it's just amazing. So I was told that I needed to keep my videos a little shorter and kind of get snippets of different things that we're going to cover over the next, months. and we'll do it we'll at least do it twice a week, so that'll get through it a little bit better or faster. And so as you notice now, my website is getting a little, or my presentation is getting a little more sophisticated. I got a background. I learned to do that. I learned to put the PowerPoint in the background, and so now I can not only show the PowerPoint, um, but I can also change the slides. I have a video of me jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. That was a real thrill. That was on my bucket list. And then I have a video, a how-to video of I'm working on a fan. So, because that's part of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing some DIY stuff too. So anyway, stay tuned for more information and more things. I know this one's only 10 minutes long, but hey, we don't want to lose your attention. So I want to thank you very much, and God bless you all, and be safe, and we'll see you later. Bye now.